Yeah, this dedicated to Canada, man. The whole up north. A lot of people don't realize how cold it gets during the winter. But listen, I met this new girl late June or early July. I called her a bunch of times, but she barely replied. Now it's December, I'm driving, she like, where's my high? It's weird that I never called you, cause I rarely get shy. See, that was the segue. I believe that is what happens after the season.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Communication Corner. I'm your host, Gail Lewis. And here on Communication Corner over the years, we've highlighted great communicators in our community. And tonight is no different. It gives me great pleasure tonight to be joined at the round table with none other than Greg Mays, the founder of A Better Jamaica. Good evening, Greg.
Good evening, Gail.
Great to see you. Thanks so much for joining me on Communication Corner.
Thank you for having me.
So we communicate in our communities through our not-for-profits.
Indeed.
And A Better Jamaica is one of our not-for-profits in Jamaica, Queens. What exactly does A Better Jamaica do?
What do? We engage in all kinds of activities, and the criteria is that we engage in activities that are designed to strengthen the community. So if we think that is just sort of something that will strengthen the community, we'll do it.
Nice. How long have you guys been around?
January 2007 is when we were incorporated.
And how exactly do you strengthen the community?
Well, why don't I go back to the beginning? In the summer of 2006, I went over to Forest Park with a couple of nephews and a next-door neighbor's child.
And Forest Park in?
Forest Park is in Forest Hills, Queens, right? So a couple of neighborhoods over, if you will.
Right.
And we watched, what did we watch? We watched The Wizard of Oz.
Nice. Where? In the park?
In the park.
Okay, on a blanket.
Oh, you know, actually, we just had some little chair kind of setup things.
I love this,
But it was really, really good. And I just really left there having had a great time, but asking myself, why do I have to travel across town
from Jamaica, Queens to Forest Park?
Exactly, to have such a community building experience. And lo and behold, the answer was that I did not. Being a just sort of action-oriented person, I said, I'm going to start a nonprofit, and I'm going to show movies right in my beloved community of Jamaica, Queens.
Awesome.
Yep. So in January 2007, we just started our incorporation process. At that time, I really didn't know how we were going to fund it. I was kind of new to the game, if you will.
Right.
I asked all the elected officials just sort of for some funding, and the person who came through was none other than the fabulous Leroy Comrie.
Oh my gosh, he has sat at the round table here on Communication Corner as well.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I saw that fantastic interview that you did with him.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes.
He's fun to have around. Yeah, absolutely. He's a great guy.
So he gave us some funds, and actually what we did, we turned those funds over to an outfit in Brooklyn.
Right.
And they actually came out to St. Albans Park and showed two films for us. They showed
What were they?
Happy Feet and Pride, two of my favorite films.
And which park?
St. Albans Park.
Okay.
Yep.
And thus, Family Movies in the Park was born.
Indeed. So we showed two films that summer. This past summer, we showed...
Fast forward from 2007 to 2013.
Indeed. And we showed 21 films.
Wow.
Actually, 16 films spread across 4 neighborhood parks. But I guess a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, we added a second series called Classic Film Fridays.
Classic Film Fridays.
Yes.
So you show classic films on Fridays?
Indeed. So Monday through Thursday, we show family films PG-13 and below in 4 different quote-unquote neighborhood parks. And then on Friday, we do our Classic Film Friday offering. This past summer, they're sort of curated, if you will.
Right.
And the theme for this past summer was Classic Bond Film Fridays. So we showed 5 different James Bond films.
Wow.
Yep.
So Family Movies in the Park, that was the whole brainchild, the Family Movies in the Park. That's kind of what started it all.
Absolutely.
And I know that we do have a clip about how you guys got started with Family Movies in the Park.
Okay.
So maybe we can show that clip and then we can talk about it.
Sounds great.
It sounds great to me. A clip from Family Movies in the Park.
get to watch movies and you get to do karaoke and stuff in the park.
I like what they're doing here. We come here every Thursday. And I think what they're doing for the community is good for the public to at least once in a while get together where we can just all have a good time and just enjoy ourselves.
It's great that they actually can have this sort of evening set aside for families that live within this particular area here and even outside of this area here.
We are here because of the generosity of a few people. I'm going to start with the very, very fantastic councilman, New York City Councilman Extraordinaire, Leroy Comrie. Can I get a woo-woo or some applause for Brother Leroy Comrie? He's supported our effort now for 5-6 years. The brother is the man, and rumor has it he's running for Queensboro president, so do your thing. The other person that I'd like to thank is Queensboro President Helen Marshall. She supported us for at least 4 years, and she really is just a fantastic person because, you know, she supported us among other things. Then there's a Greater Jamaica Development Corporation. They lent us some money so we can buy our own equipment, so we can show all these movies that we've been showing. So thank you to the Greater Jamaica Development Corporation. And I think that's it. We have another series of Classic Film Fridays on Friday. It's the last film of the season tomorrow night. It is knocked up. It's rated R. It's hilarious, but it's also rated R. That series is sponsored by the very fine Councilman Jim Gennaro, who's a great guy as well. So let's give it up a little bit for Jim Gennaro. That's it. We hope to be back next summer with another 4 or 5 films right here in St. Albans Park. This was the original park we were in the summer of 2007 with 2 films. And now we're here with 4 films each park, 16 films plus rain dates, etc., etc. And that's about it. I'm going to shut up and we're going to show this movie. Thanks for coming out.
So that was Family Movies in the Park.
Indeed.
And that was back in 2012.
Yep.
And that year, you had gotten a lot of funding, and you went ahead and you did the movies in St. Albans Park, which was where we saw in the film. And where else?
Let's see. On Mondays, we're in Cambria Park. Tuesday, Brookfield Park. Wednesday, Baisley Pond Park. Thursday, St. Albans Park. And Friday is when we do Classic Film Fridays in Rufus King Park in downtown Jamaica.
Great. Oh, my gosh. That's so much.
It
is. And what time span are we talking about? June, July?
Well, generally, our staff for the entire production is summer youth employment workers.
Right.
So, you know, either I am the crew manager, if you will, for the 6 summer youth employment workers, and sometimes I get a night off and we hire a manager of the project as well.
And the movies run from July, August?
Yes, I'm sorry. So they run basically the second week in July. That's when we get access to the summer youth employment workers, and they run through mid-August.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
So not only are you giving back to the community through free movies in the parks, but you're also employing people.
Absolutely.
And these are high schoolers that you're employing?
Generally. Yep. Every once in a while we'll get a college student or so, but they're mostly high school students.
Local?
Local, yes.
Wow, that is great. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. And you know, for me, it's just sort of a community building experience, you know, for the price of a bucket of chicken, if you will. You know, the families will come out and just sort of, you know, bring a blanket and just, not only it's an opportunity to renew family ties, but community ties as well.
Okay, no angry letters from KFC or Kennedy Fried Chicken, please. So you were talking about giving back to the community, and that's what you do through Family Movies in the Park.
Yes.
And also through Classic Film Fridays.
Indeed.
And that's also what you do with Jamaica 311.
Indeed.
So tell us what that is.
Right. Well, you know, nonprofits don't usually have a whole lot of money for marketing in particular, and as a nonprofit, we face that problem. And I said, well, what can I do? You know, what other kind of activity can I involve myself in that'll strengthen the community? So we started this website at Jamaica311.com, and all it does is just sort of list activities that are happening in the community between now and, I don't know, 3-4 months from now or so. So we do that, and it's free for different nonprofits to list those activities. And we have things on there from everything from the local library to the Eastern Queens Alliance to the Queens Sickle Cell Advocacy Network, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
And there's also an accompanying weekly e-blast that goes out on Friday morning to folks to just sort of remind them that these activities are just sort of happening. And
And you do all of this for free?
All for free, yes.
So if there's a not-for-profit or a community organization or a civic organization or a church organization in Jamaica, Queens, and they would like to post their event on Jamaica 311, which is kind of like an electronic bulletin board, if you will,
absolutely,
for all the events that are going on in the greater Jamaica area, they can just contact you.
Yep, or it's as simple as just sort of sending a flyer or some text to events@jamaica311.com, and from there, you know, we take it from there.
Great. And then there's a free listing on Jamaica311.com and the accompanying e-blast.
Indeed.
Which I get on Fridays.
Okay.
So that's great.
That's good.
I know right now you're renovating Jamaica 311, so it's going to look even nicer.
Indeed.
And have a lot more functionality and usability.
Yes.
So do you think that'll be done by December?
That will absolutely be done by December, or if it's not, then I will shoot myself.
Don't do that. You do too much good work in the community.
All right, thank you.
But that Jamaica 311, that's an excellent way if you've got a not-for-profit and or a community group and you want to get the word out, or if you just want, if you live in the community and you want to know about events that are coming up to take your kids to, your family to, et cetera, et cetera. That's
and
such
we
a great
also
idea.
we'll list events that the local electeds are just sort of sponsoring as well.
Okay, so like breast exams or family days in the park, stuff like that as well.
Absolutely.
Great. Awesome. So there is Jamaica 311 and there's also Jamaica Solutions.
Yes.
So what's that?
Jamaica Solutions is a conference product that we started a couple of years ago. And how do I describe it? It is a series of roundtables. And so, for example, it's a day-long conference, and then maybe 3 roundtables that are just sort of featured in that day.
So breakout sessions, I guess?
Well, really not breakout. So what we do is that we just sort of bring together the leadership of different community organizations. So we had 3. So the first one was a roundtable that included the leadership of youth sports organizations.
Okay, so all of the youth sports organizations in the area.
Exactly. So the leaders of those organizations got together around the table and essentially just sort of, you know, shared best practices. You know, this is what works for us. This is what doesn't work for us.
The challenges.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, we'll have at the same table the Springfield Rifles and the Rosedale Jets.
Right.
And the Cambria Heights, the St. Albans Little League.
Right. Cambria Heights Little League.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So just all those folks get to, you know, get to sit around the table and really just sort of talk about what works and what doesn't work and stuff. So that was one of the roundtables. The second one was, let's see, it was the leaders of arts, educators, and presenters in Jamaica.
Arts, educators, and presenters.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So we might, for example, have the leadership of the York Performing Arts Center, as well as someone from one of my favorite institutions in the community, the Edge School of the Arts.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
They do a lot of great work.
They do indeed, indeed. And then we'll have From Cardboard to Canvas, another just sort of very small organization that does some fantastic work. So just the leaders, again, of just sort of arts educators and presenters. Same thing, sit around a table and just sort of talk about, you know, what works, what doesn't work. There's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You know, it's more important that we just sort of share information. And then finally on that day, we had the leadership of health advocacy organizations.
Okay.
So that's where we would have had someone like Jewel Grant, who runs the Lupus Connection,
Right.
or Gloria Rochester, who runs the Queen's Sickle Cell Advisory Network.
Right.
We also had at the table the folks from Jamaica Hospital.
Awesome.
So large institutions, small institutions.
Not-for-profits, the whole gamut.
Exactly. And just bringing those folks together and just sort of talk about just sort of what's the Queen's Council, what the AIDS, ACQC, I always just sort of kill the name of it. AIDS Center of Queens County.
There you go.
So that was the third roundtable. So recently we had another Jamaica Solutions Conference, and for this time we only had one roundtable, and we had the leaders of workforce development entities that exist in Jamaica. So,
Such as, including who?
Like
Workforce One?
Workforce One. Pinso was there, the leader of that organization. Let's see, the SUNY Queens EOC.
EOC, yeah,
the
they do a lot of great work
Center,
too.
right, with the very lovely and talented Ms. Karia Ali.
Oh, yes.
Let's see, the Community Justice Program, and the folks who just sort of lead that organization. Let's see, Nikita Van Story is with Community Justice Program. Let's see, Y Roads, which is a pretty new organization to Jamaica. Jamaica, and that's the Y, Jamaica Y, working with an outfit from Brooklyn called OBT. I think it's Opportunities for a Better Tomorrow.
Okay.
So again, just sort of anyone who was in the workforce space in particular, we just brought them around the table, and in that particular case, we just tried to figure out how we might just sort of work together more effectively and stuff.
And best practices, same idea.
Same thing, same thing.
Wow.
So that was interesting because I'm not sure whether you know, UPS is returning to Southeast Queens.
Where?
So behind the Pathmark, they're building a fairly large distribution
in Springfield
center.
Gardens / Laurelton.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So I saw that building going up, and I was like, okay, well, what is that building? You know, the curiosity often gets the best of me.
Which is a great thing.
It is indeed. It is indeed.
Precociousness.
Yes, yes, yes. So I said, what's that building? And I finally just sort of figured out that it was UPS and they were returning. So I called my dear friend Melva Miller, who does economic development for the borough president, and I said, Melva, you know, UPS is coming back to Southeast Queens.
Right.
How can we accomplish a single goal? And that would be to have
jobs for local people.
Exactly, exactly. So our goal with that particular effort is to have UPS hire the greatest number of just sort of local folks that they can hire at that particular facility.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's they actually had a job fair, came out of it.
Great.
And Workforce One hosted that fair. And, you know, so hopefully there'll be, you know, more than a few just sort of local folks working at that UPS facility.
Working locally, we love that.
Indeed.
And then spend your money locally too, and then it's a complete circle.
That's right, completely, complete circle for sure.
So any upcoming roundtables?
Let's see. Ooh, that's a good one. That's
Jamaica
a good one.
Solutions?
Yeah, yeah. I think youth development is probably the next thing we'll focus on.
And of course, you've got to have everyone in the media come for a roundtable as well.
Of course, of course. You know, how could we just sort of, you know, not get the coverage that we do and let folks know what it is we're doing and stuff.
In case you happen to know any local broadcasters or writers, or newspaper people.
I wonder who those folks might be.
There you go.
There's this woman, Gail Lewis, is fantastically talented.
Oh, you're on the payroll. But there's a stable of people in Southeast Queens.
Indeed,
you could
indeed. I think about my dear friend Karen Clements.
Absolutely.
And her
She's been here
newspaper,
too.
Communities of Color. Yes,
Let's plug her.
yes. Indeed, indeed, indeed. So great folks for sure.
So there's so definitely have a Jamaica Solutions about the media that will be there in force. And another part of a Better Jamaica is the Jamaica Ball, which is an annual event. Tell us about that.
That's right. So we were coming up on our 5th anniversary, and you know, we're a relatively small organization. We'll expand and contract depending on what program we have operating. And I asked myself, well, how can we celebrate? And the answer was, well, Greg, you know, you all don't have enough friends to have one of those big, you know, spring benefit gala kind of things. So I went to sleep, which is where I do, you know, some of my best thinking.
Okay.
And woke up in the morning and I said, you know, why don't you pull together, you know, different nonprofits that are all just sort of either based here or focused on Jamaica for a collective fundraiser? Because I knew there were a lot of organizations that were smallish like my own.
Right.
And hence the Jamaica Ball was born.
And that was in 2012.
That's right, that's right. So that's when we had the first one in May of 2012. I think we had, let's see, 15 local nonprofits coming together for a collective fundraiser. And it's a fantastic event. It was at the Jamaica Performing Arts Center, which, as you know, is a very lovely place.
Absolutely.
Yep. So the tickets basically are $50 each, and each of the organizations is charged with selling tickets for the Jamaica Ball.
And then that money goes right back to the organization.
That's right, that's right. So 45 of the $50 actually goes to the entity that is just sort of responsibility for selling the tickets. All of the ticketing is done online at the JamaicaBall.com. So really all they need to do is point their folks to the JamaicaBall.com website, and then once you go there, there are a series of tickets, and you might want to say that I want to purchase 5 Eastern Queens Alliance tickets, or 5, I don't know, Jamaica YMCA tickets.
Right.
And so that's how we do that. So the costs are relatively low, and it's just a big party. The only person who gets to speak is yours truly, and I try to limit my talk to 2 minutes.
Right.
But it basically is just food and fun, great DJ,
great revelry.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the Jamaica Ball. So we've had 2 thus far. Hopefully, well, we may have to move from the Jamaica Performing Arts Center because last time we had about 225 folks, and it got a little tight up in there. We may go back one more year, but we may ideally, I'd love to just sort of do a tented event. So we'll see.
Oh, yes, indeed. But it's May, so it's a little tenuous with the weather.
Indeed.
Unless you can get maybe York College to throw you a big space or someplace like that.
Yes.
We'll just put that out there.
So we'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for sure.
And we've got pictures of you on the step and repeat. There's a red carpet.
Okay.
It's a big event, yes?
Yeah, it's a fun event, most importantly, but it's a big event and a fun event.
Oh my gosh. So that's the Jamaica Ball, and another part, the 6th part. So we've got family movies in the park, classic film Fridays, Jamaica 311, Jamaica Solutions, which is the round table, the Jamaica Ball, which we just talked about, and then the last component of a Better Jamaica is Jamaica Reads.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. Tell us about that.
So Jamaica Reads is probably the program that's nearest and dearest to my heart, if you will. I am raising my now 19-year-old nephew.
How is that possible? You look so young.
You know, I just hang out with the young and fabulous people like you, Gail Lewis. That's what it is.
I love
you know.
So it's a near and dear.
Yes. So my nephew, I describe as a highly reluctant scholar. You know, there's some people who embrace scholarship, and he is someone who just sort of, you know, embraces it a little reluctantly. And I was looking for a school for him.
Right.
And what I realized that in the quote-unquote just sort of better performing schools was that stay-at-home parents, if you will, were parachuting into the classrooms in the lower grades and essentially changing the student-teacher ratio in those grades and just sort of helping out with things like reading. So, you know, in Jamaica, we don't have a whole lot of stay-at-home parents, at least not by choice, but we do have an abundance of grandparents.
Yeah, grandparents, great-grandparents, retirees. Absolutely.
Indeed. You know, obviously, this is close because my parents are, you know, raising their grandchild with, you know, me, if you will. So I said, well, how can I deploy the senior citizens to accomplish the goal of just sort of helping young people with their reading?
Right.
So we developed Jamaica Reads, and for 3 mornings a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we work right now with PS48, and I pick the seniors up at 9 o'clock. By 9:30, they're sitting at their desks, waiting
in the schools,
and they are ready to work one-on-one with a student, mainly first graders who are struggling with the acquisition of their reading skills.
Absolutely.
So it's a fantastic program. We do this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we work with one set of students for 45 to 60 minutes, and then we get a second set of students for 45 to 60 minutes.
And we have a clip of Jamaica Reads.
Okay.
So let's watch Jamaica Reads in action. Here's a clip from Jamaica Reads.
I run a not-for-profit here in Jamaica called A Better Jamaica. One of our programs is a program called Jamaica Reads, and what we do is that we bring seniors from a senior residence for 3 mornings a week, and we bring them here to PS48 Queens. And the seniors work with young people in the first grade in particular. That's our focus, and we help first graders crack the reading code, if you will. We tend to work with the struggling readers in the class, and we give them some one-on-one attention.
The students in my class are definitely more attached to the seniors because they have one-on-one attention and they enjoy reading with someone. Each of the seniors has also built a relationship with the students and they feel safe with them. And I definitely have seen students improving in their reading.
This program has come into our school when we're desperately in need of services that are very limited by budgets in the New York City school system. And it has become a great resource for remediating our students who have so many difficulties that we need to support that we don't have the money for.
This is powerful. The qualitative data, the things, the soft data, the things that we cannot measure. And those things include things like the ability for our students to see reading as a social activity, which is so important.
So that's what we've done, and it's been a really meaningful experience, I think, for not only for the students, but for the seniors as well.
Reading is fundamental.
Great clip from Jamaica Reads.
Thank you.
And when was that taken?
Oh, that was probably 2 seasons ago, if you will. I think that was the 2nd year of the program. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's upcoming? What's next for A Better Jamaica?
What's
Greg?
next? You know, we always have just sort of some programs on the drawing board, and the only tricky part is funding those programs. But we press forth nonetheless.
So for the holiday season, what have you got?
Yes, we've got a program called Jack's Holiday Music. And the Jack is the, let's see, that stands for the Jamaica Arts Council. So, you know, there are all kinds of fantastic arts that happen in Jamaica. And the purpose of the Arts Council, if you will, an entity that we're bootstrapping, is to really just sort of bubble up the arts to the surface and stuff. So our first effort is this Jack's Holiday Music. So between Christmas and New Year's, or right before Christmas probably, we're just going to present live, just sort of music, if you will, a live music offering on the plaza level of the Jamaica Center train station and stuff.
Nice.
So,
so live music as you walk through the train station between Christmas and New Year's.
Yes.
That is something to look forward to.
Yep. And
is
we'll
that
feature
the first
local
time?
artists and stuff.
Great. Is that the first time you're doing that?
First time.
All right. Hopefully not the last.
That's right. Hopefully not the last.
And your Spanish language films in 2014?
Yes. So we have a program that we're developing called Cinema en Español. You probably know that the Spanish-speaking population along the Jamaica Avenue, Hillside Avenue corridor is exploding.
Right.
And really just want to do something for those folks. So we're producing this free Spanish language movie series, and the movies will be shown most likely at the Jamaica Performing Arts Center. And
Great. So we can look for Spanish language films in 2014.
In 2014.
All right. So A Better Jamaica, family movies in the park, Classic Movie Fridays, Jamaica 311, which tells us what's going on and where it's happening, Jamaica Solutions, which brings together all the different not-for-profits in Southeast Queens, the Jamaica Ball, which, well, doesn't need any explanation. And lastly, Jamaica Reads, which, as we saw in the clip, brings elderly or older people together with 6-year-olds who need to learn how to read.
Yes.
So, and we know what's coming next, holiday music, and also movies in Spanish, movies in Espanol in 2014.
Indeed.
Oh my gosh, Greg Mays. How can we get in contact with you?
The easiest way is to send me an email, and you can do so by let's see, Greg G-R-E-G .Mays M-A-Y-S at abetterjamaica.org. Greg.Mays@abetterjamaica.org. Or, you know, there's that old-fashioned device called the telephone.
Oh my goodness.
And the number there is 718-657-2605. 718-657-2605.
And A Better Jamaica's website
is abetterjamaica.org.
And we can get all of this information there as well.
Indeed.
And you're also on YouTube, A Better Jamaica.
Yes.
Where you can see the clips that we saw and a lot more about A Better Jamaica too.
And Facebook as well, facebook.com/abetterjamaica.
Oh my gosh, you guys are everywhere.
Yeah,
Greg Mays, thank you so much for sitting down with me today on Communication Corner and talking about A Better Jamaica.
All right.
Together, I'm hoping that we can make a better Jamaica.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thanks for sitting down with me, and thank you, everyone, for watching. As always, I'm your host of Communication Corner, Gail Lewis, and sitting with me today, Greg Mays, founder of A Better Jamaica. Join me again here on Communication Corner real soon. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, this dedicated to Canada, man. The whole up north. A lot of people don't realize how cold it gets during the winter. But listen, I met this new girl late June or early July. I called her a bunch of times, but she barely replied. Now it's December, I'm driving, she like, where's my high? It's weird that I never called you, cause I rarely get shy. See, that was a segue. I believe the matter is what happens after the season, where the leaves are scattered, where the Tim laces get tighter and Parker hoods flip up. Drug dealers standing in they Parker hoods slip up. But girls become exes from summer's called ho-in. The winter cards come out, the summer cards go in. In some places it's breezy and summer starts nowhere. And if you're planning family vacations, you better know when. But some of us scared to send their daughters out the city. Instead she get a sweater that she bought out of pity.